The family settled in Maui, where husband and dad Paul Sutherland opened a new office for his company. Paul, Amy, and their kids became active members of the local church. The church's warm welcome and the satisfaction they found in volunteering made the family's church membership a wonderful experience. Then one morning, Paul got a call at his office. Amy was hemorrhaging at 26 weeks of pregnancy. She was transferred by air ambulance to a hospital in Oahu, where she would spend the next 8 weeks. Paul called friends asking if they could pick up the boys from school and watch them until Amy's parents flew in from Michigan. No problem, was their immediate reply. The first full day in the hospital, their pastor called and offered the church's help. How did the pastor know the family was in Oahu? A parishioner saw them at the local hospital in Maui before flying to Oahu. Paul remembers, quote, "When Amy was stable enough for me to return to Maui, I thanked my in-laws for taking care of the kids. But when I mentioned cooking, my mother-in-law stopped me and said, 'We didn't have to cook much.' She smiled. Nearly every day, the school families and your church brought us dinners, baked bread, desserts, salads. Our school parents and church groups seemed instinctively wired to scan for people in need. They knew we mainlanders had few roots on the island. They helped us because we showed up." Their Hawaiian church experience has had a lasting effect on Paul and his family. In every place they have lived since, the family has made a connection with a local church. Quote, "Thinking something is not doing something," Paul writes. "Thinking we are virtuous or accepting or colorblind builds no houses, nor does it feed anybody, nor cure loneliness. Our actions are what define us. We connect by showing up, to find that we share so many threads to bind us together in relationships and connections. We see the similarities and build on them." This true story reminds me of this saying that there are 3 kinds of people in the world: those who watch things happen, those who make things happen, and those who say, "What happened?" Since there's a lot of truth in this saying, as one of my Irish friends' family would say, "God bless us and save us and Mrs. O'Davis." The Sutherland story is lived again and again at churches around the world, but it's that care for one another that makes a community of church worthy of the name. To create that connection requires the driving out the fears and cynicism, the self-centered agendas, and debilitating judgments we make of others, to realize the presence of God in the midst of a community. Jesus' cleansing of the temple challenges us today to realize that our parish temple is called to reflect God's kingdom of compassion and peace, healing and justice in this community here on earth. Everything we do as a parish is the revelation of God's love. And becoming that kind of church begins by showing up and, most importantly, contributing to the working of revealing that unconditional love in our midst.